All right, WandaVision finale breakdown time. Jeff Lowe, KenJac, Clem, Robbie Fox. We're going to have a week off after this. Then we're going to do this for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But we are now going to talk about the series finale, likely the series finale of WandaVision. Let's get into it right off the top. I actually think you may find 4 people who were maybe not loving what they saw, but let's definitely clarify why, because I think there are a couple reasons that people may not feel incredibly satisfied. There's 2 trains of thought. There's the people who don't like it because it didn't have all the cameos and the Easter eggs. We'll get into all that and expectation set. I think most of us can agree that's a silly reason to not like something. And if you're watching these shows and these movies for Easter eggs and cameos, while we love them, we love the fucking slop. I love seeing it all. That's probably not a good reason to watch. Maybe go make fan art. Buy some crayons and a pad and make some fan art because it's just, I don't know, it's kind of silly. We've gone over that with Star Wars stuff in the past. But then I think there's other reasons to maybe not love it. And I know Robbie and I talked about it. KenJac and I a little bit, Clem. I'll let you go first. I thought pacing was a little off in this episode. I thought it was weird that there was a lot of stuff that I liked that just played out way too quickly, especially for a show that for 8 episodes was some of the best stuff Marvel's done in terms of characters and story building. Then I felt like this one, I loved what we got, but it was just like too quick and you didn't have time to really digest some of the moments. That's kind of my takeaway from it. Overall, I like the series, but the ending felt like they built up to it and then they were like, let's just finish it. It's like, bang, done, over. They're like, oh, fuck. Like, I kind of wanted it to breathe. This was a very personal, emotional story for a character. So it's kind of odd to me. Clem, what did you think?
I'm with you 100%, Jeff D. I'm not clapping us in, as you can tell. So I think we're all in agreement on that. It wasn't a great episode or anything, but it just felt like 9 episodes always felt weird. I think that's kind of why I was going with the bonus episode, which would feel kind of odd now. But it's like we spent all our time, and I understand you went through all the different decades and stuff, but it seemed like they were really taking their time with everything. And I hate to bring this up because it was such a shit show in for the other show in this sense. But it almost felt like when Dany just lost her mind at the end of Game of Thrones, you're like, this just feels all rushed. And I couldn't figure out why I had this feeling in my stomach. I couldn't figure out after it was over, like why I was bummed out about it. And then I saw your tweet and you're like, it was a pacing. I go, oh, that's exactly what it was. So 100% with you. It felt like a pacing thing where I think just like with Dany, if they had shown her delve into madness and everything, it would have made sense, but it just felt like we kind of yada the ending, which you can't really do and stuff. So that was kind of a bummer. But in the end, like you said, the Easter egg stuff not being there was a bummer. I mean, we were going crazy over it the last few weeks. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like it still is a show, and it's going to play a role in it's going to be a role in a monstrous universe that is growing every single day. I'm all right with it, but it does feel like there was something they left on the table for sure.
KenJac.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I do think that it was a little bit rushed as far as not getting the completion of all the characters' arcs. Like, I feel like Monica Rambeau didn't get enough shine in this final 2 episodes. Yeah. I don't really feel like anyone other than really Wanda and Vision. Like, we didn't get a lot of close for Jimmy Woo. We didn't get a lot of close of even like Darcy, the Kat Dennings. We didn't get enough really close out for anyone except for Wanda. But I do think her closeout was really good. Her finale scene with Vision and all of that world coming to a close, I think, was awesome. And I do think that there's a lot of good stuff to take away from it. But I will agree that not getting what we had personally hyped up. And this is weird because I think the reaction is kind of the same across a lot of like the Twitter sphere and Instagram and all that. It's almost like I don't want to insert ourselves and say it was our fault, but but the same sense, what Paul Bettany said to us in the big cameo shit, him duping us in turn duped a lot of other people. So we may have inadvertently tanked this show's perception for the final episode. Not our fault.
That interview definitely played a factor in the show's perception. No doubt about it. Will play a factor in the history of what people thought of WandaVision.
In case you missed it, I gave Paul Bettany a lifetime ban from LCB for duping us for that. And if he wants to come on ever again, he's more than welcome. But I do think it honestly did have a very big factor as far as public perception.
That's like when Jeff said at the start that, you know, there's some people that don't like it because we didn't get the cameos and because we didn't get maybe the Fantastic Four or the X-Men or Doctor Doom or Mephisto, whoever it may be. I can resonate with them a little bit because they built it up to have cameos. Sure, Elizabeth Olsen might have gotten a little clickbaited when someone said to her, like, hey, is there going to be a Luke Skywalker moment? And she said, yes, I can't wait for you to see it. There definitely was not a Luke Skywalker moment in the slightest. There was nothing you could even compare to that. So I don't know why she wouldn't, respond and be like, that was like their thing. We're going to have some amazing moments of our own. And I'm sure you'll love the story, but maybe she was just feeling awkward about it. The Bettany thing was tough because it's like, and also you got to know your audience. That's the Trevor Bauer saying he's going to the Mets.
Yeah.
And then like
the
bro,
Elizabeth
you just can't do that with Marvel fans.
The Elizabeth Olsen interview did get taken mildly out of context. And we talked about that. I felt a little bad about that because it was very, very clickbait driven. But then we also talked, Robbie, you and I last night, Tiona Paris teased instead like the aerospace engineer was bigger. That was weird. I think like
they teased the aerospace engineer. They teased Dottie. Dottie wound up being absolutely nobody. They teased the X-Men stuff. I mean, I feel underwhelmed by it. I enjoyed it. And I thought almost every like individual scene taken by itself, I'm like, oh, that was a great scene. Like KenJac said, like when the hex is closing in on her and Vision, that was great. But like even when she just decided like, oh, I'm done. Like, all right, cool. I'm good. That was so quick. It was so flippant. The kids, she was good with leaving them immediately. There wasn't even any tears there. So yeah, it was very strangely rushed. And they put out that whole call for like, don't spoil WandaVision tomorrow. Don't spoil WandaVision tomorrow. I said to some of you guys, like, I don't know what that could possibly be about. There's nothing that you could spoil that anyone would be shocked by.
Yeah, no, I agree. This one, I am not going to say the mailman was a tease. No, the mailman.
No, that was us reading into things too much.
yeah. But I'll say this. So like, I don't disagree with the idea of not blaming fans for buying into the hype because they did tease things. I think my thing is though, don't let that be why you like or dislike a show. Like that's especially because like it's just because we didn't get Reed Richards and the X-Men and like we're gonna get it. Like this isn't like the end of a season and you had a fucking great team and you didn't win the Super Bowl and like that's your last chance with that team, which I guess you actually can win the Super Bowl the next year. But you get my point. It's like it's not like this is it. It's not like you're graduating college, not playing NCAA tournament anymore. It's like no, like the X-Men are not graduating. They're not like gone now. Like they're just going to be in a different show. Reed Richards is going to be in a different movie or show. So like it's a silly reason to not like it. Like I think there's two sides. I get being underwhelmed and like I wanted a little more like the fan servicey shit. But I think you judge the show, like you got to separate that a little bit. Unfortunately, judging the show right now, I actually had problems with the show, and that was my thing. Is I was like, all right, like I actually got to say, like I didn't love it, but I want to clarify it. It's not because fucking Hugh Jackman didn't roll on in and bring the claws out with Wolverine. Like it was just like I felt there were a lot of things I loved, especially the character. Like I thought the Vision on Vision moment was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and this episode, cool. Like it was like, I mean, maybe it's because I'm an idiot, but it felt smart and it felt like well written and it like just everything kind of fleshed out nicely, but just wasn't enough of it. It just felt so rushed in that sense, so and that was the thing that killed me. Yeah, it was. This episode felt like they had a lot of great stuff, but they just unfortunately packed way too tight into one episode. That's my thing. I think my biggest takeaway is let it breathe. Right?
Wait for the 10th episode, man. Let's wait until next Friday before we make it.
Yes, let's go, KenJac.
I'm just saying, let's not be too hasty. 9 is too uneven of a number. We need that firm 10.
This show sort of, and I love this show. I wanna say outright, as a whole, I thought WandaVision was amazing. And it's a show that I'll go back and rewatch plenty. I think this is a great direction for Marvel. I don't want people to take my disappointment in the finale or being a little bit underwhelmed in that being the entire show. But looking at it, it sort of has the energy of like when you're making a poster as a kid and you make the first few letters huge. And then by the end, you're like, I don't have enough space to finish this. It's like the first 2 episodes really, really dragged. And you definitely could have made them into one plot line. And then in the end, you had like 30 minutes to wrap up 10 episodes worth of stuff, and yet I didn't see anyone that said I was 100% satisfied. They answered everything I wanted them to.
It's funny because you would expect a show like this maybe to have an amazing ending, but stumble to that episode. But it was more like even people talked about last week. I fucking loved last week's episode. I thought that was a really cool episode. It really built up WandaVision more, but this was more of like 8 episodes and it kind of stumbled at the finish. Like I never would have expected that from this show. And so, I mean, again, I liked it. Like I'm absolutely a fan. And some of the early stuff, there's some really cool moments and stuff from Marvel that I hope we keep getting. But I think my one thing, if like Kevin Feige was sitting on this Zoom right now or this stream right, I'd be like, let it breathe. Let it breathe.
And don't do the fucking Mandarin thing from Iron Man 3 again. People were mad when you did it for Iron Man 3. They're going to be mad when you do it again. Yeah.
We'll get to Quicksilver in a second.
Yeah, I think a thing to note though is that this is good, like very much setting the table for a lot of future Marvel things. So a lot of people are saying, like you were saying before, just like oh yeah, where's the Wolverine? Yeah, where are all these characters coming in? Like this is setting the table for a lot of that stuff to happen. This is kind of easing you in, right? Warming you up before you take the plunge, more or less. So
and something that Clem sent me. This is important. Something that Clem sent me today. Doctor Strange was supposed to come out like next month before Corona. Yeah. We were supposed to get literally, it was going to be like, this is the direct lead in, and we wouldn't even have time to be underwhelmed because we would be looking at trailers and being like, oh my God, what do you think's going to happen there? We would be speculating like it's another episode. So it's a product of that as well.
And this is our first series on Disney Plus. It's good that we got we basically Redditized the fuck out of it. So now we know just
not to do that again.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I will say this, if they keep dropping hints listen, and I'm with you, Jeff. We didn't need to have all these characters. Honestly, any of these characters. We're being a little greedy. We that person.
Absolutely,
said,
yeah.
We got all those people. We got Photon. We got the kids. All that stuff. At the same point, they kept hammering the aerospace engineer to us, and the Quicksilver was the one from the X-Men. And it's listen, Kevin Feige, I believe in you through all in all. This isn't even, it's not a strike. It's like a foul ball, maybe, right? It was still a great series, or a very good series, all things considered. But you keep teasing us like this, I'm gonna call Disney Plus DC Plus because I don't like my balls being tickled. And the actors too. The actors, this is a lesson for future actors in these series.
Yes.
What you say will be nitpicked. It's like every stupid sports rumor we get, like JJ Watt's fake Peloton, and we're going through all the different rumors through that. It's the same shit with us nerds, especially as we're still locked in this weird ass quarantine. We're gonna grasp on every little breadcrumb we can find.
They hyped it like it was Endgame.
Me and Jeff interviewed Anthony Mack, and he told us that Falcon the Winter Soldier is going to be Godfather 2.0. So just keep that
in mind. Again, I think that's my biggest takeaway is that I totally get maybe feeling burned. I obviously wanted some of the big stuff. I'm not going to sit here and have revisionist history and say I never wanted it. Of course, I wanted the cool cameos.
I didn't think there would be any cameos until they told us there would be amazing cameos.
Yeah.
I absolutely get feeling bummed about that, but my thing is let's all sit back, realize we got a cool show with some awesome fucking characters. We got backstory on two characters that a lot of people always talk about. Wanda's not strong enough. Fuck Vision. Vision's boring. He wears sweaters. Guess what? We got a lot of stuff here.
He still wears sweaters.
I hope we all sit back and look at it yes. Take time to be bummed out that John Krasinski didn't fucking roll in his Reed Richards or some bullshit, which I would have liked as well, but let's take a step back for a second. That's not a reason to like or dislike a show. Because if you're liking or disliking a show because of fucking cameos and Easter eggs, then again, what did I say? Yeah, get a pad and pen and draw some fan art because that's gonna be, you're only ever gonna be disappointed. You're never gonna be satisfied, no matter what. But let's rip through the show a little bit. Let's rip through the episode because there's some cool things that we can talk about here. We saw in the beginning, fucking Buick thrown at Agatha. Had a bit of a fight, which was cool. I can't wait to see more magic fights in the MCU because magic fights are the best. They really are. They're the coolest of all the fights.
I didn't understand how the magic dynamic kind of worked in this fight because it seemed like every time Wanda did something,
That'll be a theme for when we go through this. Again, that was kind of my problem with the episode is they showed a lot of awesome stuff that it flew by so quick. You didn't have time to kind of digest it. Like she mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't understand this either. I didn't understand why the world wasn't a sitcom anymore. They left off in Modern Family when they went into the basement and then all of a sudden it wasn't, but the people were still they were normal, but they weren't, they had to be released still. They just didn't explain anything. What was going on. We didn't understand the world we were in anymore.
Yeah. Cool parts that I just wish just let the show breathe a bit. Then we saw the all-white Vision flew in. Loved him walking away from the fire, though. I will say that was badass.
I did Terminator shit.
I thought he killed him right away. By the way, I thought he died.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah,
especially if that was the Bettany thing that he was saying. Even at this moment, I was saying to Clem because we were watching together. I was I'm still buying, that Doctor Strange is coming in. No way did Bettany screw us. And the more they were fighting, I was like, nah, he screwed us. I loved him squeezing Wanda's head because that was kind of an oh fuck moment,
Yeah, I loved his voice.
He made a good point though when he actually teased us the other cameo actor. He said, so actor I always want to work with. We have fireworks between us. Literally, he exploded. So he was being very on the nose with his fuck you to us.
Great point here. I love the Wizard of Oz witch's boots.
Yeah.
I like that.
That
That was a
was
nice
cool.
little shout. Yeah.
Oh, that's who that was. I didn't know whose boots though. That was I thought it was Vision's boots. I was very confused. Did you guys see the it was like another one of these Easter eggs where Ultron doesn't have his left hand at the end of Age of Ultron, and that's the hand that Vision looks at. So then that was more fucking Ultron things that I thought we were getting Ultron this episode. So no more Easter eggs. I'm done. Hashtag done with Easter eggs.
I like the voice. I did like the voice of White Vision. Then we see the fight in the town, which I thought the Darkhold stuff was cool. I kind of wanted to hear. Like, he referenced Doctor Strange, said you're stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So we obviously see the Darkhold's going to be a major part going forward, especially in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. But again, someone's saying, they're going to pay off. They're definitely going to pay a lot of this stuff off somewhere down the line. Though that lends to the point that Robbie and Clem made. There was supposed to be Doctor Strange right after this. But again, I think for me, it's less payoff. And here's an example: is like the kind of the town square when they were kind of snapped out of it. Rob, you mentioned this is another one that I wish would have like allowed this moment, this scene to kind of open up a bit more and understand what's going on with the people, because it just felt like they kind of rushed through it. And I wanted to appreciate more of what we built up to this moment.
It was good too. The concept of everyone in the town feeling her trauma was brilliant. Like, I didn't even really consider that. That's maybe why the tears were coming down. They said, we see your nightmares when we go to sleep. That shit was awesome. If you would have given us a little more time to understand like why it was happening, or to feel for those people, or to show Wanda how much she truly hurt them. Because it was very quick. They were like, you've been torturing all of us. And she was like, oh, I guess I have been. Let me change everything and it'll be okay again. So it was like, it was just a little too rushed in every scene, but the scenes themselves were good. The individual scenes, the way that the mom from That 70s Show, what was her line? Someone just tweeted it to me.
Yeah.
It was like, she said, like,
so
just
cool.
let us die. She was like, if you're not going to let us
die,
free, let us die. Like, holy fuck. It's well-written stuff. It just needed more time.
Yep, I agree completely. Even seeing like, well, we'll see here in this next one. I think, did I go out of order? Might have gone out of order. I did go out of order. Let's talk about this first. Let's talk about Quicksilver. This one did get me a little bit, and I've actually kind of warmed up to the fact that this was kind of a funny duping and a joke, because there are people in our chat who are like, fuck this. The Quicksilver thing was bullshit. He was just a guy. It was a literal boner joke. Shout out to Boner from Growing Pains. That's very much a sitcom reference. But this clearly was a joke. This was a Mandarin-esque joke, like in Iron Man 3. It's not Quicksilver from the X-Men, despite what the audio explanation said on the episode he appeared, all that. He was just controlled with beads and stuff. The one thing that it's made sense to me more and more over the last week is I kind of get it, and maybe those X-Men characters come in via the multiverse, but I also totally believe that Kevin Feige doesn't really want to dive too much. We did get news that they're going to reboot the X-Men with The Mutant is going to be the movie. Yeah. I don't think Kevin Feige doesn't want to dive too much into the X-Men stuff, because it is, despite having a couple awesome movies, a complete fucking mess. So I get it.
It is, but it's like, we wouldn't be mad at you not diving into the X-Men stuff if you didn't tease us with the X-Men stuff. So it's like they asked for all of this with the Mandarin. I mean, the Mandarin thing, looking back, was, I feel like, the most negative I've ever seen the fans about anything MCU up to that point. When that happened, it was like, everyone took it as like, this is the biggest fuck you to the fans Marvel's ever done.
They had to make a fake short about it. They made one of those
exactly. I mean, they for them to like read, that was the first thing I thought of when it was just like, oh, he's really nobody. Okay, we're doing Mandarin again. Like, they got balls doing it again. Yeah.
That movie still made $1.4 billion. It's one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
But again, this one I get more on this one to an extent, because this one is so on the nose and deliberate, and clearly it was done on purpose, where it does feel a little like you pulled the rug from underneath the audience. Because the other stuff,
looking back, I definitely wish Evan Peters was not in this show. I wish they would have cast someone else as Quicksilver.
Yeah, I want to keep that moment. I want to keep the moment of him showing up the door and me being like, shit. I don't even care if it didn't play out the way I wanted. I love that moment.
There are some people who still think he's Fox Quicksilver and that he was in witness protection, and that's the witness protection that Jimmy Woo was looking after, obviously, and that
you want to explain it. Yeah, I'm cool with that then. If you want to go back but like,
I don't hate it as much as I kind of hated it this morning. I was like, I kind of laughed that they fucked with us here. It's kind of funny. This one I very much get people being mad at. This one I kind of, because this one did feel like a deliberate fuck you, but unlike, it's not like they're like, well,
especially with the boner joke.
Yeah,
it's a boner joke.
they're not going to say like X and X cameo. This. It's like they didn't say any of that. This was like they said
literally an XXX cameo if you consider the boner name.
There you go.
Nice.
Boner. Shout out to Growing Pains. Let me go back to what I had before. We obviously saw Photon.
Wait, there's a guy named Boner on a show called Growing Pains.
You're too young. I'm not. Clem
Growing Boner. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
We got a lot of boner jokes going on right now. Thanks a lot, Feige.
We also see really full on Photon from Monica Rambeau. I thought this was pretty fucking cool. I'm excited to see this character. Those are awesome powers. Wicked and Speed had their powers as well. I thought this was one of the cooler quick moments, but again, I feel like a fucking broken record. Would have liked a little more with Monica Rambeau. Like,
and Hayward.
Yeah,
didn't really get anything on Hayward.
A little too quick.
She didn't even seem shocked, dude. Bullets went right through her body, and she was just like, "Oh yeah." It's like,
and I liked Wiccan
stopping
stopping his was cool too. And when Wanda tells him one of the best lines in the episode when she's like, "Kids, deal with the military." It's hysterical.
Yeah.
What's his name? Director Hayward just fucking. I mean, that's like J.R. Smith quick twitch fucking shooting. Like you just started shooting at fucking children. What was that about?
He unloaded that clip too. He shot every bullet.
And I saw Q from Impractical Jokers was like, "Hello, resident of Westview here. I would actually like you to put that woman who's been keeping my children hostage in cuffs and not the fucking guy who tried to save us all." Like Hayward to everyone in Westview is definitely the hero of this story, and Wanda is definitely the villain.
We see that not only was Vision a part of Wanda's like reality or whatever she's making, so are her kids, and that as long as the hex is gone, they'll be gone as well. I like the effect of her losing her magic in her hands, and it just reminded me of Mr. Deeds' foot, the frostbite foot from the movie Mr. Deeds.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
I called it Mitch McConnell hand.
Yeah. It was I thought it was a pretty cool effect there. So again, excited to see more of that stuff. Someone did a Deedsy. I can't come into work today. I'm too sick. Favorite. Also on the list.
When the kids were disintegrating, by the way, did you guys take a hint or get the hint of like, did you get the sense of shards of them going away? We heard in the comics that they were shards of Mephisto, right?
Yeah.
We got a post-credit scene which would tease him. When they were fading away, I was like, that looks like shards of the children. It doesn't look like it was fading, like it was the snap. So I don't know.
Good analysis, yeah. This was, I think, my favorite part of the episode, Vision versus Vision.
Yeah,
Harry Potter up in the sky. I love the back and forth talking about which one of us is Vision. I thought that was not any of those types of like lecturing moments, but Paul Bettany delivers those so well. And it really completed a nice arc for this character in this series, where I went from not caring about Vision to caring about Vision.
Totally.
Yeah. So I was a big fan of this scene. Yeah. This one, could you have had more of it? I don't know. I think this one might have been like the one perfect part of the episode for me.
I agree. This had enough time to breathe. The stuff in the library when they were phasing in and out of each other, like grabbing each other's legs. The action was cool. I loved all of that.
And they changed the clunk sounds from being like, I don't even know what the sound would be when Vision hits something, but they changed it to the vibranium, almost like Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit hitting something else, which is kind of cool. But I really like the Ship of Theseus sort of like, and I usually hate when they drag philosophical shit into this. But I really did like the Ship of Theseus idea in this because, like, you know, it's how much of something can you replace before the identity is lost? Because with Wanda, it really applies because for her, like, you know, how much can she have taken away from her before she loses herself? Because she's lost her parents, she lost Pietro, she lost Vision now twice, she lost her kids, and like, how much can she get taken away from her before she's no longer the Wanda like we know from the movies, basically, right? So I think I love that concept now being applied to her.
Yep,
that is smart. I didn't even think about it like that.
Good.
Yeah, this was again. I thought this was like this was perfectly done in this episode, and really left me satisfied with Vision. What was White Vision going to be? And the Vision
stuff. It's satisfying too because it's like Vision we know as being so next worldly brilliant that Hayward couldn't just reproduce him and make him his little puppet. The second that Vision got face to face with himself, he could kind of explain what was going on and put that memory inside his head. Also, a little shot of the T-Man. We saw Thanos.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, in the flashback,
Yeah, we did. You could have spared him a couple memories. Did you have to show him all the bad memories?
I know, yeah. You could have at least spared him one of the deaths at the end. You just could have showed him like Thanos taking it out of his head instead of Wanda and then Thanos. So yeah.
Maybe he put something in his head, like he you did that, like maybe you pissed your pants in second grade, you just don't send that one over. You're like, oh,
that's
all of them.
Anything that makes you cringe looking back, you're like, I'm not going to send my Facebook statuses from 2009 back. No.
Like, that one embarrassing thing you do that no one remembers, but it haunts you every day from middle school. Yeah. We saw more fight. Wanda did that really quick run-up thing that she did in Avengers Age of Ultron, which I don't think we've seen.
That was great, yeah.
I always love that. Saw the witches. I thought that was cool, her being the Scarlet Witch. I like where we kind of landed here. I like the back and forth in Salem and then back on the rooftop. First of all, her I guess this is what happens at the end of what we're about to talk about, but I do think her new costume is fucking badass as hell.
Amazing, yeah.
Really cool. But yeah, her with the fake out, because she's the one, and they did a nice tease. She put up the runes and she was able to control the magic. She's like, you ain't doing any magic, bitch. Like this is my area. She faked her out. I thought the end of that fight was pretty neat. And then the Scarlet Witch is she's born out of that. And looks really cool. Like this character, again, felt rushed, but I like the arc we finally have with Wanda. She feels like she's a character. This is a character like worthy of having in the MCU, or it lives up to what people know of this character, as opposed to kind of just being like a side thing from Avengers Age of Ultron that kind of always was nerfed a bit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm happy with it. I like the outfit's neat.
It was cool. It was one of these things where, again, I didn't really feel like I understood what was going on for a second. Like when she was losing her power, and then Agnes appeared to take all of it, but like it did her no good because I guess she was casting the runes. But like I didn't understand that she was casting the runes when she was like maybe dead in the sky. So this was it was a cool little like twist. But again, I didn't even know how Wanda cast the runes if nobody's taught her. So all that stuff it felt a little like, oh, I don't even know what's going on. All right, I guess Wanda beat Agnes.
A little too quick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone would complain if we got just a little more of it, right? Like,
because it was all good. I liked all of it. I just wanted more. That's like, and it's a good problem to have, I guess, if that's the biggest problem you have. It wasn't like Thrones, where I was like, I hate that you put that fucking guy on the throne and you made that decision. All of the actual decisions they made, save for the Pietro one, which I didn't love, I was fine with.
I like this comment, by the way. This is a big one. Big one. Do not watch the previously on.
Yeah.
Disney. They tell you everything that's about to happen. We had this problem with Mandalorian. Like, it could be like, if you didn't know Bill Burr's character's coming back, you fucking knew it, because they just skip the previously on, because they absolutely telegraph what's about to happen in the episode. Because the rules, like, you knew she was going to do something. I guess you could maybe figure out on your own, but you don't want like a reminder at the beginning of the episode. Like, you kind of want to just figure it out as you watch. Always skip the previously on Disney Plus. They do not. All they do is ruin what's about to happen for you. I get why they do them, but
that was the case in Game of Thrones too. I remember my buddy told me that, and then like some character from like season 2 shows up in like season 8. I was like, "What the fuck was that about?" And of course, you show, and you're like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense." So if you truly love a show, or at least really like it, and don't want to spoil it for you, like you said, Jeff, just skip all previous. Because what are you really getting out of it other than the shit you've been hyped for the entire week? Just skip it all together.
That shit works on a double part, like Everybody Loves Raymond episode. There's too much going on here that you're learning. This doesn't work like that. Let's see, a couple more things here before we wrap up. Agatha turned back to the nosy neighbor, which is, in my opinion, they wrote this and they said, if we like her, we'll bring her back one day. If we don't, we never have to bring her back. I imagine she'll be back. That's my guess.
She'll be back. She has to be back. She was such a fan favorite. This was like a cool way to leave her off too. I love the way they left Agatha off.
This was them, I think, trying to also like stay more loyal to the comic version of Agatha, because obviously she has an up and down relationship with Scarlet Witch. So this is them saying, because the line she says, she's like, you're going to need me. And she said, well, if I do, I know where to find you.
Yeah.
So that was the tease right there.
Yeah.
Yep. And she said, you have no idea what you've done. She teases, you fucked shit up. She'll be back. Mid-credit scene. We get a scroll. We see Monica Rambeau is basically invited to space. We know that Nick Fury's in space. The Secret Invasion Nick Fury scroll show is going to be coming. So I think that's going to be before Captain Marvel. So we will see Monica Rambeau go to space. We saw him in that big sword ship at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. So not a shock there. I think scrolls were many expected at least one scroll or something in here. And I imagine more and more are going to pop up in the near future. And then the post-credit scene I thought was pretty cool. And it pretty much teases that she's going to at least be the initial villain in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because she is doing the fucking Doctor Strange. There's a name for it. Put it in the chat thing with the Darkhold.
Yeah.
And the music for Doctor Strange is playing too.
You can hear Wiccan and Speed, who you assume are with Mephisto or Nightmare, whoever they end up using, because it may not be exactly what the comics did. But if you wanted that character, I do think you're going to get it now, because that seems as though she's trying to bring those kids back and make them real, which would go along with astral projection. Thank you. Along with what has happened in the comics and the graphic novels and stuff, that would kind of line up, at least in a sense of what we've seen before. And some actually I did think this too. Someone said it looked like the Tony Stark cabin. I was like, damn, it's just his fucking house. But then I realized there was too many mountains and shit behind there. But I did like this end credit tease. So it seems though she will be a villain in some sense, maybe off the top of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I like that a lot. I said to Robbie, they made Thanos such an interesting character, right? And you barely got him on screen with any of his story. A little bit in Guardians and obviously Flashes, but other than that, it was mostly just the stuff he talked about in Infinity War. And I think we all fell in love with him, right? To have a character that was she started as a villain, but she was a hero for a while, yet you could completely understand why she's turning into this villain. She's going full Heisenberg on us. This is fun. And if only Doctor Strange was coming out in like a month, this would have been so awesome. We just kind of got robbed, put that list number 1 million of what coronavirus fucked up here is it kind of gave us this awesome villain that was, an ally. I kind of hope this is fucked up. I kind of hope she fucks with Tony Stark's family. I hope she fucks with Pepper a little bit. Tony Stark ruined her life.
Yeah.
And dark.
Jeez.
I hope that is his house. I know. It's she fucking takes the little heart out of the fucking lake and just crushes it and shit like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't do anything to Morgan, though. She's adorable. I love Morgan.
Yeah.
She's the best.
And then someone, I like this comment a lot. A lot of predictions will come true. We were just ahead of the timeline. I think that's exactly spot on. That's my biggest point, is that this isn't like, it's just like if they're saying this is the end of the MCU, no more Marvel, then be fucking mad. Be like, well, where was everyone? We're going to get him eventually. Just enjoy the show we had here. But I think if we did like an actual critical review of it, I think my big thing going forward with these shows is that like you got time. You don't have to bracket it into a 2.5 hour movie. Let it breathe for an extra episode. I know that's money and all that shit as well, but like just a little stretch here and there. Like I think we really we want these shows to really dive into stuff. Like Robbie, you said it too. You were spot on when we talked last night. It was the townspeople. It was the fighting. It was like what Attica's talking about going back and forth with magic. Like that's the little stuff. Like elaborate just a tad more. That's all we want. That's all we need.
I just want to note, I don't trust the Skrulls for a second. I think they're trying to get us comfortable with the Skrulls. They're trying to make us think that they're friendly. They're all on our side. That secret invasion shit's going to go down with them.
Oh yeah, I agree. They're going to be. They have to be bad Skrulls somewhere, right? Like
has to be. There's that like weird group of they said there was like that offshoot group in Captain Marvel. Obviously, I mean Skrulls are going to be, I think, a huge problem in the MCU going forward. Big time sus list.
Here you go. Somebody said it. Skrulls bad.
Yeah.
Hit the wrong one. Yes. Skrulls bad.
Bad.
Thanks everyone for watching these. These are always up on YouTube right after. I'm not saying don't watch them live, but Periscope fucking sucks. Watch them on YouTube. Watch them on BarstoolSports.com. That's a much better way to watch it. We'll do this for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then after that, we'll have a break until Loki, because that's not quite as back-to-back. But otherwise, if you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. That helps us out, grows the page. We can do more and more of this shit. Appreciate you guys watching this. We'll do the whole season. Unless we're in hotels again. Like if we're in hotels, like I'm sorry.
It was shitty, yeah.
Nothing you can do. That's it. For KenJac, Clem, Robbie, I'm Jeff Lowe. We will talk to you in 2 weeks for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Or next week, there's a bonus episode.